play games at the same time.
Welcome back, everyone. We are ready for the grand finals of the Hearthstone Grand Prix here in DreamHack Winter in Jönköping, Sweden. We've been playing Hearthstone for 3 days almost now, and we have finally got to the final 2 players who have made it. I think over 250 players battled it out from Swiss on day number 1 on Friday, and then we battled the rest of Swiss and top 16 to make it all the way to this point. It's been a long journey, guys. It's been a long journey, but we're getting there.
Final DreamHack of the year.
I know. It got me in the mood. It brought a little tear to my eye. Can't quite believe that it's over, but it's reaching a fitting end at least. Particularly, I think, with Zumpp taking a spot in Grand Finals. No disrespect to Vanik whatsoever, but very early on, you know, we all said we were impressed with Zumpp's performance in the last DreamHack where he made top 4. Then the first time we saw him play again here, we said, yeah, that wasn't a fluke. This guy is on point yet again, and that's carried him all the way through to Grand Finals.
Yeah, so much so that we began to believe he was a robot at one point who was capable of doing everything right. But then he missed a single point of damage, and that was the giveaway.
What an idiotic boob.
Well, my only worry is that maybe that was just, you know, to make us think that he's human.
Lorinda did bring up the point that if you were a sentient robot, you would actually throw in small errors to throw everyone off the scent that you were a sentient robot.
This is how Skynet happened.
Yes.
Let's just not do any more AI. I'm done with it.
Okay, well, instead, let's find out how these 2 finalists got all the way to where they did. We can check out the bracket and see what's happened over the past couple of days. So Zumpp started off by taking down Tony Ramos, then moved straight on through No Rage this morning in the first match of the day, and then took out Unid in a close series as well. So that's his road. But what did Vanik have to do to get there?
I'm just looking at the symmetry of, like, if you look where they were in the bracket, that they followed the exact same path on the opposite side.
Oh, how adorable. Symmetry is very pleasing indeed. But yeah, Vanik had a rough road of his own. He took out Delsum early on, and then, of course, Zanananan was taken out in the quarterfinal in a game that was memorable for a new Songify meme, if nothing else. Came up against Swaggermeist, who has definitely been one of the feel-good stories of the tournament, but his road came to an end, and Vanik now sits on the lower side of the bracket, taking on Zumpp in Grand Finals.
Yep, and that's going to be happening very, very soon. And I know you guys touched on this, but based off lineups as well as just playing, because we said Zumpp's been extremely, extremely confident and been extremely solid. But who do you think's got a lineup advantage when you take a look at these deck lists?
Well, they brought the same classes in mirror in terms of that mirror, but there's a big difference in the Druid decks that they have, as well as a considerable difference in the Warlock decks they have. Yeah. They flip-flopped roles. So Vanik's playing the Zoo Warlock, and Zumpp has brought the Control Warlock, and then on the Druid side, it's Vanik bringing J Druid and Zumpp bringing Aggro Druid. So both of them concluded that they wanted one slower deck and one faster deck in those respective classes. And I think it's been a big testament to why their lineup has been working so well.
Yeah, do you think there's anyone particularly has an edge? Is, you know, the Control Lock, you know, weaker against the more that style of Druid? Or do you think he's got a good plan?
I mean, sight unseen coming into this tournament, if you'd have shown me these 2 lineups and said which one of them do I think is stronger, I wasn't a huge advocate for Control Warlock coming into this. I definitely wasn't a huge advocate for Aggro Druid coming into this. Both of those decks have impressed me as the tournament has gone on, and the stitching together of Zumpp's lineup, I'm starting to see the matrix in what it does in terms of matchups. So I think this is a very, very well put together lineup overall, and I would give the edge to Zumpp.
Yeah, definitely fun to watch across the board, and we can see exactly what's going on with the bans, so we can maybe get a little bit more insight into how each player is going to approach this matchup. Bans, of course, extremely important in any tournament. The Prix gone for Vanik, and the Druid gone for Zumpp. Whoa, admirable. Whoa, what?
I don't know. I find that quite interesting. You know, I guess the Druid does really perform well against the Zoo Warlock and against Rogue, so it makes a lot of sense in this, but goodness, I hate leaving up Priest. That deck is just good.
I'm going to ask you a question, Sol. If I told you before this tournament started that in the grand finals, aggro druid would be banned, would you even... You don't believe most of the things I say, but okay, if Admirable told you, would you have even got close to believing that?
Honestly, Raven, like, you are just the unfortunate butt of many of my jokes, but I think I believe less things that Admirable tells me than you do.
Hey.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell Sato a lot of ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes just
Same.
to get a ruse out of them. Yeah.
Same. Pretty much why the partnership works.
We got it.
Got him. Okay, well, both the players have got their bans in. And for once, Sol's on the receiving end. It makes a nice change.
Yeah.
Admirable, you can fly over this side of the pond more often.
Woo!
I appreciate that.
Yeah, shut up, Sato.
Okay, well, on that absolutely fantastic note, I am happy, and all the players are ready to go into the grand finals. Enjoy this one.
I'm going to have to shut up here in a minute because I'm going to have to throw a comment over to Sato. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean it that way. I did, but I didn't. You know, sorry, not sorry. I actually do think in hindsight that the aggro druid ban is quite good. I think it's been just doing so well versus Zoo and against Rogue that it makes more sense. Like, I think Zoo and Rogue have better chances versus Priest than they do versus aggro druid. I feel uncomfortable saying that.
But even with the one remaining deck that you're not talking about, the Jade Druid, then we've seen aggro Druid chew through even the Spreading Plague draws already this tournament. It's showing that when you do stick a board, get a couple of buffs down to 3 or 4 health, it's a huge, huge problem for Jade Druid to deal with unless they're playing like Doomsayers, Spreading Plague, and Mind Control techs or something crazy in the list.
Let's get into game number 1. Mind Control tech is available in Vanik's deck, and this is an open format period of the tournament at this point. It started closed format, and I think that was one of the benefit of a lot of the surprise lists that were out there. If you went unscouted, then your opponent could be thrown for a loop. Maybe they mulliganed improperly or just approached the matchup wrong in their first opening sequence. But at this stage, it's crafted game plans, and I think Zumpp has performed fantastic when he's been able to piece together every single piece of information there. But this Zoo matchup can be quite tough for Priest if they do not have the right tools to answer early minions.
Yeah, and you see Vanik, interesting mulligan. Some people may have been a little bit confused if you're somewhat more newer to the game or more of a casual player. You just watched a player mulligan away their 1-drop and keep their 6-drop in their opening hand. Their 1-drop was Malkazar's Imp, which you would quite happily trade up for a Flame Imp in that scenario, because Flame Imp just starts the beatdown going much, much harder. Ken is just the party starter against Priest.
Yeah.
Like, if that thing sticks to the board, not only is a source of repetitive damage that doesn't die to Anduin, it's then a target for a Bone Mare, and it's also a somewhat safe target for a Bone Mare, because if you curve that Bone Mare into their Anduin turn, you still stick a 4/5 to the board afterwards, which can be massive.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that Zumpp is playing the Radiant Elemental early here and just fighting, is because he has to disrupt that style of play. If it gets out of hand, he's never recovering from that situation. So I quite like it so far, but his hand is pretty bad, I'd say, for this game in particular. He has the Councilman checked, but outside of that, it's like the Alchemy Soul Priest and try to battle for board.
Hey, I'm looking at that Alchemy Soul Priest and saying that is half of a game-winning combo right there. There is a circle of healing in this man's future.
And I imagine Wild Pyro does have some tempo fate here.
Just jam it out there as a Bloodfen Raptor?
I think so. I mean, at this point, it's kind of like a Flame Imp that doesn't deal you any damage, too.
Sure.
I'll take that.
Crucial
turn 1.
Crucial decision on the last turn, though, from Zumpp to go with the Holy Smite instead of the Shadow Word Pain, knowing about the threat of Darkshire Councilman coming up.
Yep.
Puts him in a much better position once the 2 threats are dealt with than doing it the other way around.
Yeah, plus there's the Vicious Fledgling that he has to be concerned with as well. I mean, we saw that card completely flop a matchup in Vanik's favor when it went unchecked, and it looked like Zanana even had like an advantageous position, leaving the Vicious Fledgling to even attack him, and suddenly Doomsayer got Spellbreakered, and that was that. And so Life Tap on turn 3 is not the game I think Vanik envisioned in this one. I mean, how often are you the aggressor and you look down and you go, oh, my opponent's got 2 minions in play, I have none, and they're going to have a 3rd. I
have lost the board to the Singleton control deck on turn 3.
With a what is that card's name? River Crocolisk, a Bloodfen Raptor, and now a Tazdingo without Taunt.
He has continued to curve out perfectly into his 4-drop in his singleton deck.
Yeah.
This is fine.
It's like, I mean, this is literally like a basic priest deck right now, aside from the healing is turned into damage.
Yeah.
So we finally have an effect, and Anduin is drawn. So Zumpp is going to be moving towards his later stage with a tremendous amount of life.
Later stage? Vanik's at 18. This guy is just dead.
He's just going to kill him. That is a fantastic draw at the moment. It just so happens this is like one of those weird turns where like Doomguard can happen, and I think you're right. He is just going to kill him.
This is one of the silliest games.
What is that?
Of Razaka's Prix.
What is happening?
Just in case you needed to curve out any better.
What is going on?
Have a Sunwalker, sir. He's dead.
Why?
Why is an excellent question. One that I wish I have an answer to, but I just do not.
If you hit them in the face, they have less life.
Yeah.
And if you kill their stuff, it's dead. I didn't think that turn 2 Radiant Elemental would be this bad for Vanik. I mean, I knew that's what you gotta do, but I mean, come on.
Can we take a moment to appreciate the irony of the fact he kept Ken in his mulligan because it's one of the most important cards in the matchup and then died on turn 5?
That's bad luck. But Zumpp just knows everything. I don't understand.
You ever get that feeling that a man's name was just preemptively written on the trophy before the tournament started?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good job it wasn't Zanananan. That's at least $20 extra in engraving.
So it's $8 per vowel? Are you kidding? Why is it extra for vowels? That doesn't even make sense. Hey. I didn't create Wheel of Fortune.
Vanik coming back in with the Jade Druid, and I believe we previously settled this matchup with our sample size of 1.
That's right.
It is, in fact, Priest favored forever.
Forever.
Mm-hmm. I just have to shut up and hold that L. So I shall.
I'm not going to rub it in.
Okay.
Just let you sulk on it.
I will say that when we were having this debate before, I brought up the point that the non-Raza Kazakus, the non-Raza Anduin draws, you pretty much lose all of them. The one exception to that is on-curve Kazakus into a good 5-mana tempo potion.
Yeah.
That is a way you can win without having to have that early Raza and Anduin combination. So,
yeah, and by early, you mean somewhere like the top 18 cards.
Yes. Right.
You do need both of them often.
Yes.
But if one of them is buried in that bottom 10, it can be quite tough.
Mm-hmm.
And Zumpp going for the turn 2 Acolyte here, I think is quite good. This really disrupts a lot of Jade Spirit or Jade Blossom draws that Vanik will have. But something that's really important is that Vanik has ramped his mana, and he's got 2 Jade Behemoths, so the Jades are going to be ramped as well. And the combination of those two, I think, is what puts Zumpp in the most trouble.
Yeah, it was a really heads-up play from Zumpp. He knew he had all his bases covered. If it was an off-curve Jade Blossom, fantastic. That's best-case scenario. If Jade Spirit comes down, he still farms that with the Acolyte. Worst-case scenario is Maya Keeper, and then even then he has the Power Word Shield to keep that checked.
Yeah. A lot of card draw here, but oh my. This is going to get scary. He does have Dragonfire Potion to help fight some of this, but this is looking like it could get ugly.
Yeah, this is looking like it might go down the road of how this matchup was played early on, where the Priest was actually kind of doing this more deliberately. They were letting the Jade Golems build up to a certain size and then Dragonfiring away the kind of 4/4 to 5/5 range of Jades, then trying to Anduin a bigger wave, then trying to kill the Druid afterwards. And the reason why this matchup became, in certain people's opinion, Priest-favored is because they realized they didn't have to go through all that nonsense. They just played Anduin and they killed the Druid.
Yeah.
They didn't actually have to worry too much about removal. But because Vanik is ramping his Jade so quickly with the start that he's going to have here, Zumpp is going to be forced back onto the defensive a little bit.
Yeah. This Acolyte drawing a lot of cards, though.
It is.
Bring the pain.
And I am glad I'm not in Zumpp's position because I have no idea what to do here. Honestly, my instinct tells me that the Kazakus might not be enough. I mean, that'll put 9 cards in his hand, and then if the acolyte gets attacked, a card gets burned.
Yeah.
So that kind of negates the card draw. So my instinct is telling me Priest of the Feast, which and just battle.
Yeah, does also just contest the board better in the immediacy, right?
Yeah.
But I agree, especially with no Raza, no Anduin in your hand, the cost of burning a card, something which is enormously overrated by most people,
yeah.
how crucial burning a card is. It's actually huge in a deck that revolves around the power spikes of 2 individual cards.
Yeah, and also just a deck that wants to cycle through its deck very rapidly.
Yeah.
Like if a deck is like Zoo, like overdrawing cards means nothing almost.
Right.
A deck like Control Warrior, it can often mean very little for it. A combo deck, however, you do have some immediate failure rates when certain cards get burned, as well as it delays the way that you're cycling. You've effectively not cycled if you're just burning random more card draw that you would have otherwise had. And that is more Jade Ramp plus more Mana Ramp, and Vanik has Nourish as well. So we are approaching the super dangerous turns for Zumpp now.
Yes.
If he does not find Raza and Anduin, I do think he's going to be in heaps of trouble way sooner than he anticipated. The way he threw that out. I mean, he's pretty deliberately played everything, but the way that one came down, it's like a, well, I hope this one works.
Deal 4, draw 2, though, is pretty clutch. And now this is a Potion of Madness that 1 sets the extra damage on the Jade Behemoth to clear that out. 2 gets a card out of his hand, because he actually needs to make room to draw 2 cards with this Kazakus Potion at some point.
Goodness, I think it's Nourish first. I like drawing here. Ultimate Infestation, I think, is the next big one for Vanik. Ooh, those are not good.
No.
Those are inverse good.
Lotus is okay. He has 2 Jade cards in his hand already. I mean, 2 multiple body spawning Jade cards in his hand already. So yeah. Lotus can do some work. But yeah, they are not the UIs, the Kuns, etc. that you are looking for.
I wonder.
Punch, punch. And I think, ooh. Ooh. Things are getting interesting now. And something that I've noticed about Zumpp over and over again is that rather than take his obvious turns of like just blow stuff up, he will play patient and try to just disrupt what your game plan looks like.
Right.
And see how much you want to commit to a board before he starts unleashing his big power cards.
Mm-hmm. Pyro Clear would not quite work that turn. Annoyingly, Spirit Lash doing 1 damage to your Pyromancer ruins all of your hopes and dreams, whatever combination you want to go for. So he's just going to throw out the Stonehill Defender and try and play for stall, and this is something that we have seen him do consistently, time after time, game after game, match after match, is just put irritating taunts in the way and buy time with them.
And I'm kind of shocked over the Obsidian statue. Like, I know the other ones were bad, but...
Did you want to be a squirming tentacle gamer?
When is he going to play this Obsidian statue?
On turn 9!
All right. I don't believe you, but okay.
He's got a giant wasp. Everything's fine.
He's got a giant... Look at the difference between game number 1 and then game number 2, where he killed his opponent on turn 5, and now it's just like a hodgepodge of, like, the other side of your arena deck.
Right. Fandral Wrath just to continue to cycle, and that's another whiff. He's finding the anti-aggro corner of his deck right now. That's not what he's looking for. He had such a promising start.
And something about the Jade Idol is you don't want to shuffle it into your deck until you've drawn some of your big power cards.
Yes.
Like, if he had another Nourish here, he'd be fine shuffling Jade Idol. If he had Ultimate Infestation, totally fine with it. But because he doesn't have either of those 2 cards, I think it is quite a liability to be shuffling it in right now. And so that's going to be a hold. But Zumpp is now down to 8. And 8 is not by any means comfortable. Still can't use this Kazakus Potion unless he wants to burn stuff. And the Kazaka's potion looks good right now because he wants the Dragonfire for the next Jade Wave.
And he's just forced to do it kind of the suboptimal way, just in order to keep some hand size spare.
Oh,
and there is the UI.
My. Oh.
Get dunked.
That is the juice. Vanik is going to win. Zump's just dead. He's not getting out of this.
The hurdles in front of Zumpp right now are insurmountable. You are right. He has to kill a 5/5, heal up by more than 2 this turn, plus come up with a game plan to deal with another full wave of Jades next turn, then another 3 or 4 full waves of Jades after that, with no counterpunch set up. No Raza in hand, no Anduin in hand, no light at the end of the tunnel. This is 1-1.
Yeah, he's dead. I'm trying to think of any way to get past this.
Quickly.
Well, he's not dead this turn. Priest of the Feast is gone.
Yep.
And there's like actually no healing cards in here. Like there's no binding heal. There's no greater healing potion. That's it.
And he
Holy Fire
just used his Spirit Lash as well, which with Velen in hand can give you a Reno Jackson-like effect if you pair those 2 cards together, but he was forced to use it that turn just to scramble to stay alive.
Was there a different potion available? Like, did he need to take the card draw?
The second pick was not what he was looking for. Like, card draw just leapt out to me as the obvious one out of those picks.
Because he had the Acolyte churning, and that Acolyte churning is what restricted this hand size.
Right. The Jade counter has set up almost perfectly here for Vanik because the death has been used, which means the Shadow Reaper Anduin almost is forced here to deal with the 7/7, and that leaves him with a 4/4 Jade in play because of the time that it's becoming down.
I do not see a way out.
I wonder.
Oh, wait a minute. So, use the potion. You draw a 1-mana card that you can play. You play Wild Pyromancer, you Holy Smite, and then you play that card. That will not work. So close. So far away. 3's a lot when your opponent's at 7. Tied up. And now, mind you, the Aggro Druid's been banned away, so we are looking at Control Warlock and Rogue to tackle this Druid problem now for Zumpp. And his Control Warlock does have a copy of Skulking Geist in it.
Yes.
And that has been working for him thus far.
It has. It is by no means a free win against Jade Druid. I mean, first and foremost, you have to draw it. Especially against an opponent that knows it's there, you have to draw it quickly. Because against a smart opponent that knows you're playing Geist, there are power cycle Jade Idol strategies that you can commit to that really counterplay Geist pretty well.
Yeah.
You can load a bunch of Jade Idols into your deck, slam Ultimate Infestation, draw 2 or 3 of them, just commit them all to the board, get yourself up to a 12-12, 13-13 kind of Jade counter over the course of the game. That's good enough.
Yeah.
That will get you there.
Now, that being said, Zumpp, we did see him beat 12-12 Jades earlier this tournament because he eventually landed a Geist. But that is more of a last-ditch effort than it is, like, the game plan versus the Druid. If you have Rogue up, you probably should be queuing Rogue. So that's what he's going to go with here. And this is not a stellar hand. It's decent. He can start chipping away, but he's going to need to draw some of that middle of the pack stuff.
Whoa. I am shocked.
I've been seeing this over and over again throughout, and I'm always a bit worried when I see this.
So I'm just going to go through the upsides of holding onto a South Sea deckhand and just having a Firefly on the board instead, right? You can use that card to interact with South Sea Captain later on. You could draw Keleseth next turn, which buffs your patches before you then pull it out. You can use it for flexibility. After you go turn 1 Firefly, you turn 2 Dagger. You then have a deckhand plus patches in your hand, which is 3 damage worth of flexible allocation that you can apply to get through taunts or hit face later on, whatever you need to do. The obvious upside of playing it on turn 1 is you guarantee you don't draw patches for the rest of the game. Is that enough?
You deal damage, too.
You hurt them.
And this is a big hurt. I mean, this is 6 damage now.
Sure.
I think Zumpp came ahead in this one.
All right.
Now, I am a bit... I feel like I'm a bit confused from Vanik's play. I think I would have liked to see either the coin hero power or the coin wild growth to either shut the damage down or start unlocking more hero powers later on. I mean, hanging onto this coin can be beneficial later on in the game. And he also just may want to leave the small minions up so that he can land mind control attack at some point.
The land serves me.
But I don't know.
One thing I have heard players say about the early Pirate, particularly more so Swashbuckler, but how it's so nice to be able to play a Pirate on turn 1 and get some utility out of your patches so that it's not a liability later going into the Spreading Plague turns.
Yeah.
You've already used it, you've committed to the board, you've traded it off into something.
Yeah, and here it panned out perfectly again for Zumpp. The trade into the minions after they dealt 6 damage, keeps his board at 3, again because he knows that the mind control techs are present. This is a strong enough board, I think, to fight through Spreading Plague reasonably.
Yes.
It's coming up Zumpp right now.
Looks good to me.
And there's been a lot of mana ramp, but there has been no Jade ramp. And I think the Jade ramp is very important versus Rogue, because once you start playing Jades and you're late into the game, you need them to be sizable so that they actively fight for board.
Yeah, I think the games this tournament we've seen Druid win, they've had a 3-3 and a 4-4 Jade on the board pretty early, and then they've slammed a mark at the lowest. And then that was just like too much to deal with.
Vanik has a 1-1 Jade counter right now. Whoa. Wow.
Just giving up on the mind control tech Dream despite only being 1 minion away in that position, and there's a potential huge 5-drop coming down this turn from Zumpp that mind control tech may have been your only answer to.
And I think that Zumpp is quite fond of Lotus Assassin at the moment.
Yeah.
That one's pretty untouchable for now. And now the use of Backstab. Zump's next turns are looking awfully weak.
You need to backstab a 2-2 in this position.
So many options.
The 2-2 plus a hero power or the 2-2 plus a swipe threatens one of your 2-3s.
Backstab trade?
Backstab trade into... I mean, this is the point I was leading on to. I don't think the 2-2 is as big a threat as the 4-4 because the 2-2 requires extra leverage from your opponent. Something that they have to spend additional mana on, which is not doing something broken that swings back against you.
That's a dead draw right now.
Yes, it is.
This is an ugly turn from Vanik.
And I think, I just want to get back to this. I think not backstabbing the 2-2, whether you held the backstab or backstab the 4-4, I was fine with either. But not backstabbing the 2-2 is a huge success for Zumpp, because if your opponent's turn was what you just saw, hero power kill one of your 2-3s, that is very, very good for you.
And Zump's going to continue to play around the mind control tech. He could have loaded up a big Edwin, but that second minion means that the Edwin is then vulnerable to that check. And when your opponent has done nothing and then they do nothing, that's a card that's very much on your radar. Plus, it helps versus a Spreading Plague draw.
Yep. Spreading Plague suddenly does give us a little bit of a game, but put yourself in Zumpp's shoes now. He saw one mind control tech just get played out on board when there were 3 minions in play already. That can be a read that he has the second one, and the first one is surplus to requirements. He's also staring at 3 dead cards that were unplayable with 7 mana. One of those could then be a tech card, such as a mind control tech, Spreading Plague in this situation. So Zumpp is just using his hand reads to influence. He's cutting 2-2 off his own Edwin and keeping a 1-2 off the board, just based on those reads and based on the utility that a 1-mana card has in hand for him as a combo activator as well.
Combo activator was where I was going to go. So.
Okay. Sorry, I spoke for like 45 seconds straight.
It was beautiful. I loved hearing it. Honestly, I think his board state looks stronger right now than it would be if he had that other Firefly in play. Spreading Plague would be providing more life, and again, he would be vulnerable to more potential draws.
And these 1/5s are going bye-bye. Every last one of them. None of these are sticking to the board this turn.
Did we mention there's an extra 5/5 coming down? I suppose there is some merit to just holding the Bone Marrow in this spot, or stacking it on the Lotus Assassin and then hiding it.
Sure.
Because once again, this would continue to play around mind control tech. There's also a lot of merit just to jam down the Scalebane. Say, yeah, here, keep your 1/5.
I really like killing my opponent's stuff, because then they don't have stuff anymore.
Yeah, but I like getting the most use out of my cards, too. Because then you get the most use out of them. I think Scalebane is more situational than the Bone Mare is as well.
So many.
He just didn't know what he wanted to Bone Mare yet and said, let me kill these things and then figure it out. All I know is I don't want 4 minions in play.
Fair enough.
And that's a very low life total for Vanik.
Looks like even the might of 2 ultimate infestations are not going to be good enough to dig Vanik out of this game. He said, did we mention there's another 5/5 coming? Did we mention there's an 8/8 to follow all of this up?
Yeah, now that you're in ultimate infestation territory, you go, yeah, okay, you could mind control tech me. That means you cannot ultimate infestation.
Right. With no Valspine Slayer in hand, though, is MCTing a Lich King a big deal? No, right? You have your own Edwin on board to slam through it. You're going to have a 5/3 in stealth again that you can leverage through it. Nah, you're fine.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You got me. Is it a big deal? Yes. Is it the end of the
Yes.
world? Maybe. But it's Hearthstone. You got to risk something. Is it good for you? Yes. And that's good enough for me. And draws Frostmourne from it as well.
I feel like we've seen a unnatural proportion of Frostmournes from Lich Kings this tournament.
I feel that way when I play it and I see Obliterate again. I don't like that one. I never have any life left.
A tangled web.
Admirable confirming he has no life.
This is also true in addition to game true. There is no Naturalize in Vanik's deck, as well as there are no Innervates. That is his turn. And the beatdown commences. That is enough damage to end the game. Zumpp takes a 2-1 lead. And that means Vanik is down to his last leg. Rogue mirror match coming up.
Somewhat fitting that the potential Rogue Mirror is the last game of the tournament. Even more fitting that if the Rogue Mirror goes the way of Vanik, it's going to come down to this quite unique Warlock build that Zumpp has put together, mainly to give it extra resilience against these aggressive decks like Rogue because of all the extra taunt minions that he has packed in there.
Yeah, he put in 2 Chain Gangs. He put in the Stonehills as well.
Yeah, on top of the existing Tar Creepers, there's a Lich King in there as well.
His top end is 2 Twisting Nethers, Medivh, Blood Reaver, Gul'dan, Lich King.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is made to blow stuff up. And it does that very well. And so in this matchup, I am curious what some of the most important cards are. Let's discount Prince Kaliseth for a second and talk about the rest of the cards that are very important.
Discount Prince Kaliseth? You want to make it 1 mana? You crazy person!
That's exactly what I meant! 1 mana 0/0. That's my suggestion.
Well,
oh!
All right, we got a game. Honestly, we can even recount Prince Keleseth, because I actually don't think it's the most important card in this matchup by a distance.
Go ahead.
Prince Keleseth's Shadow Step openings, if they do not then draw absolute heat off the top every single turn, you can find ways to tempo push that and just beat them up, and their lack of resources don't give them a way to swing back against you. I think the tempo swing cards, the South Sea Captains pulling big patches, the Vilespine Slayers, and the Bone Mares, those are the important cards in the matchup.
Vilespine, did you say?
I did. I also said Bone Mare.
My, Zumpp's hand is looking so good. Honestly, he may end up killing Vanik before any of this stuff happens.
It's possible.
Look at this. He's going to wait on the patches as well. Zumpp, you are a crazy man.
He's got a captain to come.
I would have jammed that South Sea down so fast.
Vanik is emphatically behind on the board here.
I just saw the 1 mana and I was like, not like this.
3/3 patches. He's going to value trade the ones. Keep the Pirate healthy. 2 3/3s in play are a nightmare to deal with. His Firefly and Flame Elemental are not important to his game plan right now.
And you said it, the swing cards like South Sea Captain. Those are the first ones you mentioned.
Right.
The Vilespines are the follow-up. If you got the combination of those two, you're in great shape. But the first one is the Captain. Those SI7 agents, even just the SI pushing damage here, I think can be quite relevant. More value found, and Vanik, he's going to take too much damage before this situation becomes favorable for him.
Yeah. I mean, this is up to 11 more this turn if Zumpp wants to swing the dagger as well. 12, in fact. I forgot about the extra buff from the Captain on the deckhand.
He's just dead. What card wins?
Certainly not Vilespine Slayer.
I don't know, but if there's one guy who can do it,
it's Defias Ringleader.
Cold Blood, trade the Captain. Defias Ringleader. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage he's staring down with 12 life remaining.
So many options.
Scrub. Yeah, beat it.
Oh, that's lethal. That's lethal. Shadow Step, damage extra from either of the charging pirates, plus the SI7 combo activator for 2.
That's right. And Zumpp he's going to count this up about 16 times and go, this is not a time to miscount. Let me just ensure that this is, in fact, lethal. And indeed, it is. Zumpp has a massive early start with his Keleseth and takes the series 3-1, becoming the DreamHack 2017 Winter Hearthstone champion.
And what an incredible performance, following up what we saw in his previous DreamHack visit, where he made it to semifinals out of nowhere, introduced a new deck into the metagame on the way. This time he's come back with a unique build of Warlock instead of Mage, brought Aggro Druid screaming back with a vengeance, impressed all of us, made some fans in the crowd, made $7,500. What hasn't he done?
Absolutely nothing at this point. Okay. He has covered it all, and it is absolutely amazing to see from very early on. We were like, Zumpp is playing very well. He's playing extremely solid, and he's got a great lineup that seems to be working, and he did it again and again and again through 9 rounds of Swiss, then through top 16 onwards to the #1 place.
There's a smile. Finally, he shows the emotion.
And presenting his trophy, there is Anika from PwC, who is sponsoring the prize pool to a certain extent with the prize money consulting firm. So maybe on top of the prize money itself, he's going to get a few free tips on how to maybe go about spending that.
He's a smart dude. I think he can figure it out. I think he'll get there.
Yeah, he looks very happy, and after all this time as well, whole tournament looking quite, quite stony-faced, quite serious. There's the smile. There was the happiness, and he is pretty pumped. I don't blame him. It's a big deal. DreamHack Winter champion.
In the final DreamHack of the year, in one of the final tournaments of this metagame too, to close out Knights of the Frozen Throne, which has just been such a fantastic tournament metagame. And to see the fantastic play from Zumpp has been something special for me this weekend.
Yeah, we've seen it across multiple formats as well. We've seen some insane Conquest tournaments in HCT, where the strategies that have come out, like Big Priest, Big Druid, all of that kind of madness happening, now coming over to Last Hero Standing, showing that there is life in that old format yet as well. Zumpp innovating, several other people bringing creative strategies as well, but just want to reiterate one more time, if no one else, this guy has made one new fan this week, and that is me. Because
at least 3,
yeah,
I would say. They're all standing behind this desk.
Incredibly impressed with the guy's play.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing, to actually just go from, recent DreamHack performances this early on and just repeat performance is absolutely incredible for me. Not often do we see players turn up in such a short time and make such an impact onto the tournament game. As Sottle just throws the headset aside. Don't worry about that one. Couple of bangs, but I apologize. And I believe we are just about joined by Zumpp. Congratulations on the win. That's the first thing I want to say. How are you feeling after being the DreamHack Winter champion now?
Yeah, it's great.
It is pretty good. You take a step forward. I think the trophy's actually just hiding you, because that is one really large trophy.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to you, first of all. We've talked a lot about lineups and how many different lineups we've seen in this tournament due to Last Hero Standing. How did you go about yours? And are you, were you still confident with the decks like Aggro Druid, I think was the big one?
Yeah, well, Gufdon, the Finnish guy, came up with like Priest, and he wanted to test like Aggro Druid, and I was like, no, Aggro Druid is bad. But like then we made some lineup simulations and like calculated some stuff, and like then it felt like, well, maybe it's good lineup, and then I wanted to play the Control Warlock also. It fit the Priestman, so it's fun deck to play. So.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. When we saw you on stream first, I saw you had the Control Warlock. I was like, brilliant. And then you continued to win. I was like, okay. But I just want to ask you as well, it's been a very long tournament, especially for you. You went all the way across 3 days. At what point in the tournament was there a moment where you thought, okay, I actually am going to win this? Other than the bit where you actually did win it, of course. Was there any point in the Swiss or top 16?
No.
Oh, really?
I was 2-0 down in the round 9. I had to win the last Swiss round, so I thought that I'm done. But Aggro Druid swept, and, well, and it just won like one game at time today. And like, yeah.
Aggro Druid again?
It's too good.
Really is.
It's too good. A deck that almost all of us thought was bad coming into the tournament. I really like the Control Warlock build you brought, and I'm just curious to know, how many Jade Druids did you beat over the course of this weekend? 3-1 score. 3-1 score versus Druid.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good.
That's pretty savage. I have about a 1 in 60 score versus that pick with Control Warlock.
Brilliant. And as you are the winner of 7,500 euros as well. And is there anything you planned for the money yet? Have you even had a chance to even think about that? Or are you just going to enjoy the moment and plan all that later on?
Yeah.
Okay, so is there any shout-outs you want to give to anyone? We know you had a lot of help preparing for this tournament, so it's your moment to give shout-outs to any friends.
To every Finnish guy who helped us, Gufdon, Janetski, Vardu, Tret, Wampi, Jupu. If I forgot someone, then...
It was absolutely awesome. Like just all the Finnish crew, and overall, that everyone did pretty well when you look at the scores at the end. Obviously, you winning, but all the other players from Finland actually performed very well in this tournament. So
3 guys went 7-2 with the same lineup.
Yeah,
so
that's
so sick.
Yeah, it's actually really unheard of to a lot of extents. It's normally, a group of players build a lineup and one person ends up doing well with it and like, oh, that's great. But 3, like, that's actually insane.
Plus the win. I mean, you can't do much better than that.
Yeah, right? You can't do better than winning the tournament. But no, congratulations again.
Thank you.
And thanks. It was a joy to watch you play all the way from the beginning to the end. So DreamHack Winter Champion, congratulations.
Thank you.
And that is going to be it from us for this weekend and the last DreamHack of the year as well. We hope you had a fantastic time throughout the whole year watching all of the shows we've had on. And from myself, Admirable, Sottle, Lorinda, all of the production crew, the admins, and everyone who has helped make this happen, huge thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next year.
Hey, Owen.
What up, Fox?
Can I borrow your headphones?
Sure.